Welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into the first story. Me, a 25-year-old male, with my girlfriend, a 24-year-old female. I recently met my work partner's wife, and the differences in their personalities is making me jealous about what kind of relationship I could have. I have been with my girlfriend for 6 years, and recently, I have been wondering if she is really the one. I did not doubt that she was until I recently started a new career and got a new partner at work, a 29-year-old male. He has been married for a year and has been with his wife, a 28-year-old female, for 7 years. Him and I, spend over 40 hours a week together and have become fairly close. We have been talking about double dating so our significant others can meet, and when I brought it up to my girlfriend, I will call her Sarah, she was really against the idea. In all honesty, she has been against this new career change in general, even though I make more money and get many more benefits, because she does not like the hours, and she says, quote, "Everyone in my profession cheats." When I brought it up, she became very distant and said something along the lines of, I do not remember the exact words. Why would I want to spend time with these people and give him, my partner, the idea that he is so close to me or can ever know me better than she does? It did not really make sense, but after talking about it, it seemed like she felt like she was being replaced by my partner because we have to spend so much time together, and I only get to see her 2 or 3 times a week with my schedule, her part-time job, and the fact that she is going to university full-time. I assured her that she was my number one, and he was just a cool guy that I am forced to be with due to circumstances. We did not talk about it again for a couple of weeks. Then a few weeks ago, I was at the bar with my cousin. She was invited, but she does not like my cousin because she finds him too boisterous and candid. I ended up bumping into my work partner and his wife, my first time meeting her. His wife is very unlike my girlfriend, much more extroverted. She immediately got very excited when my partner told her who I was, and told me about all the funny stories she heard about me. I was kind of thrown off about how open and friendly she was, since my girlfriend sort of convinced me that her feelings of not wanting to meet or associate with them were normal. And like every girl would feel that way, I guess, I do not know. But his wife immediately launched into how we have to all get together finally. And watching the two of them together was just so opposite of how my girlfriend and I act. They animate each other like a 2-person comedy act, and I found myself becoming a bit jealous. I did get a little tipsy and admitted to his wife that my girlfriend was worried about the cheating that people associate with my field, and she sort of laughed and said that people say the same thing to her, but that she trusts my work partner, and she just laughs it off when people say things. At work the next day, my partner ended up telling me that my cousin I was with at the bar was talking to his wife, and confessed to his wife that he does not even like Sarah, news to me, and that the things my cousin told her, he did not specify, worried her, because she was really looking forward to hanging out together, and she was now afraid my girlfriend would not like her. I pressed him for more details, but he either did not know or did not want to say. That night I mentioned to Sarah casually that I bumped into them, and his wife really wanted to meet her. She did not like this, and again told me she was too busy and had no interest in pretending to be best friends with people who think they are so close to me. I dropped it because it was late, but it started to get on my nerves how opposite these two women are and react to things. Then yesterday happened. My work partner and I had a really early meeting in a city about an hour and a half away, and the night prior we were not getting out of work until 10 p.m. My work partner offered to let me stay at his house because we had to be up at 4:30 a.m., and he lives an hour closer. I was stressing out because I did not have time to iron a suit, and I called Sarah and asked if she would go to my apartment. We do not live together, but she has a key, and set a suit up for me. It is crucial that we look put together at work, and I knew she was not doing anything that night. she got really angry. First, that I was staying over my partner's house, then that I was treating her like a slave. I have never in my life asked her to do anything like this, but I am still very new in my position and I am stressed out. She said she had too much work to do and refused. I ran home after work, grabbed my stuff, and drove to my partner's house. I guess I was visibly agitated because his wife asked me what was wrong the minute I arrived, and I just spilled it about how stressed and exhausted I was, nervous for tomorrow, and how Sarah had snapped at me and would not help me. His wife just said, "Okay, we will have to get back to that Sarah thing at another time, but go relax and I will get your suit ready." I tried to argue because I felt really bad, but she was not having any of it and started to flat out ignore my protests while she got the iron set up. It just showed me again how different they are and what a supportive partner actually looks like. I got off really early today, and I have barely talked to Sarah all day. Now I am just drinking beers in my apartment alone, something I rarely do, and wondering if this relationship is even worth it anymore. I do not have a crush on my partner's wife or anything, but she seems to possess all of the qualities I feel like I want, and I am finding myself getting really jealous and annoyed. But after 6 years, I really do not want to throw everything away if this is something that we can work through. Too long, didn't read. After meeting my work partner's wife, I am starting to see how many qualities she possesses that my girlfriend does not have, and I am starting to become very jealous about what a supportive relationship could look like. 6-year relationship. Am I getting too hung up on grass is greener syndrome? Edit. I see I am getting a lot of recurring questions, so instead of answering each of them, I will leave this here. We do not live together because, prior to this new job, I did not make as much and my apartment is very small and not meant for 2 people, and she is doing her master's and only works part-time for low pay, and does not want to pitch in for rent so we can move to a bigger place. She lives at home with her parents. Even with my new job, I cannot afford a bigger place all on my own yet, while also paying for student loans, utilities, my car, which is a necessity where I live, etc. Also, I know 2 to 3 times a week seeing each other is not a ton, but we spend all my days off together. We did not see each other more than this prior either, because my old job was still 40+ hours, and I was also going to school. People think it is strange that I mentioned her being introverted as if it were a bad thing. It is not. I used to think I was happy not seeing our friends often, but my job is social in nature, and I find that I enjoy being more outgoing than I used to be. This does not mean I go out every night. I see my friends or my cousin maybe once every 1 to 2 months, or that I want to go to bars and clubs, but it does bug me that anytime I suggest doing anything she makes an excuse like she does not like the person, has no interest in meeting new people, does not feel like seeing her friends, does not feel like getting dressed up, she is tired, etc. I want us to do new things together. Additionally, I've been asked a lot what I've done to support her, and why I expect support. Let me make it clear first that I have never asked her to run an errand or do anything for me before. I asked this one time because I was exhausted and stressed. I did not expect her to drive an hour to drop it off at my partner's house. Just leave it on my bed so I could grab it on my way home. As for what I do to support her, I've helped her many times with research for papers when she was stressed over school. I've taken a week off of work when one of her relatives died and she needed to be with someone. I've taken her car to get fixed numerous times, etc., etc. I text or call her whenever I can, which is multiple times a day, and I talk to her every night when I get off. I do not even spend tons of off-duty time with my partner. The one time at the bar was literally the first time I've seen him outside of work. We have just been talking about all getting together for ages. Hope this clarifies some points a bit. Update, 5 days later. Sorry it's been a little while, but I decided to update after the past week of what has been going on with me and Sarah. First though, I wanted to add the edit that I included on my original post here, since people were asking the following questions a lot, and I'm not sure if everybody saw it. We do not live together because, prior to this new job, I did not make as much and my apartment is very small and not meant for 2 people, and she is doing her master's and only works part-time for low pay, and does not want to pitch in for rent so we can move to a bigger place. She lives at home with her parents. Even with my new job, I cannot afford a bigger place all on my own yet, while also paying for student loans, utilities, my car, which is a necessity where I live, etc. Also, I know 2 to 3 times a week seeing each other is not a ton, but we spend all my days off together. We did not see each other more than this prior either, because my old job was still 40+ hours, and I was also going to school. People think it is strange that I mentioned her being introverted as if it were a bad thing. It is not. I used to think I was happy not seeing our friends often, but my job is social in nature, and I find that I enjoyed being more outgoing than I used to be. This does not mean I go out every night. I see my friends or my cousin maybe once every 1 to 2 months, or that I want to go to bars and clubs, but it does bug me that any time I suggest doing anything she makes an excuse like she does not like the person, has no interest in meeting new people, does not feel like seeing her friends, does not feel like getting dressed up, she is tired, etc. I want us to do new things together. Additionally, I've been asked a lot what I've done to support her, and why I expect support. Let me make it clear first that I have never asked her to run an errand or do anything for me before. I asked this one time because I was exhausted and stressed. I did not expect her to drive an hour to drop it off at my partner's house. Just leave it on my bed so I could grab it on my way home. As for what I do to support her, I've helped her many times with research for papers when she was stressed over school. I've taken a week off of work when one of her relatives died, and she needed to be with someone. I've taken her car to get fixed numerous times, etc., etc. I text or call her whenever I can, which is multiple times a day, and I talk to her every night when I get off. I do not even spend tons of off-duty time with my partner. The one time at the bar was literally the first time I've seen him outside of work. We have just been talking about all getting together for ages. Hope this clarifies some points a bit. So now that is out of the way, I am not a spy or hitman or something crazy. A few of you tried to convince me that I am an asshole for not disclosing my job since apparently I cannot be given advice without saying it. I described so many details in my last post that I hope people can just give me at least 1 ounce of anonymity. My career is known for cheating only because of the unpredictable hours. Some scumbags, apparently a lot of them on Yahoo Questions and Wedding Bee and other cesspits of advice that show up on Google, use these hours to their advantage. That is, oh, I got caught on overtime tonight, when really they are out cheating. This is not a prevalent thing in my experience, but my girlfriend Sarah was Google ing. My career spouse came across hundreds of articles, most of them benign, and latched onto the few that stated we all used our schedules for the sake of cheating and nothing else. Anyway, on to the update. I am not delusional. A lot of you told me that the only reason I admired my work partner's wife is because she showed her best face to me in public. Of course, this is true. I do not expect anyone to be perfect. What stands out to me, however, is that there is a lot of downtime in my position, and my partner and I talk. Every single thing that he has ever said about his wife is positive. Naturally, I would hope that would be the case for anyone, but I see something in the way he talks about her that I do not feel when I think about Sarah. He ruminates about their vacations, and silly stories, and stupid random nights they have together, and I realize that I do not get to enjoy any of that with her. Sarah does not like being out of her comfort zone. She does not like being spontaneous. She does not like being silly. I never knew that this bothered me before, But when I saw how funny and silly they acted together right in front of my face, it just confirmed that I could actually have fun in a relationship. It made me realize that I am not having fun. And that sucked. So, after I slept over my work partner's house, Sarah was not talking to me except for sending me passive-aggressive texts about how she hoped that I enjoyed my romantic evening, and that she hoped he was worth it. Many of you indicated how insecure she must be that we can barely spend much time together, and suddenly it seems like I am becoming close to someone new, when after 6 years, we maybe were not as close as we could or should be. I took this to heart, and I saw her point. So the next time I was off, this past Sunday, I took her out to brunch, one of the few activities she likes to do, bought us some mimosas to break the ice, and tried to talk to her about the way that she has been feeling. I started the conversation saying, "I know it sucks that we cannot see each other as much as we wish we could right now, and believe me, I wish that could be the case. However, I feel like this is causing more tension than it used to, and I want to know what you have been feeling about all of this lately." I was hoping for an honest conversation where we could both learn from each other and move forward with new compromises, but she just unleashed. She told me that she just does not think I have a reason to be close to anyone but her, that my partner sounds like well, she used an offensive slur, that just wants to sleep with me, that his wife is probably just fed up with not getting any attention from him, and is trying to move in on me, and on and on. In retrospect, I feel like she is just very insecure, and this was her way of attacking me, and trying to hold me back so I could reassure her. But at the moment, I could not think of a way to respond. I tried to deny what she was saying, explained to her that it was not the case, and asked what I could do to show her, but she just kept verbally assaulting my partner and his wife, and me for even entertaining the idea of being friends with them. I stopped talking, and we ended up finishing our meal in silence, her fuming, me just feeling awkward at this point. Afterwards, we got back into my car, and I started driving towards her house. She noticed that we were not going towards the direction of my apartment, and she started yelling at me for trying to drop her off and not wanting to spend more time with her. At this point, I had had enough. I drove to her house in silence, her berating me the entire way, and then listened to her continue to scream at me for 10 minutes after we pulled up until finally getting out, slamming the passenger door, and going inside the house. I went back to my apartment, spent about 30 minutes on the phone with my sister, 2 years younger than me, asking her what the heck I should do, and then decided, probably cowardly after such a long relationship, but really not wanting to be screamed at anymore, to send her a long text message about my reasons for breaking up with her. She did not take this well, and blew up my phone over and over until I just turned it off completely. The next day I had work, and I tried to talk to her about things back and forth over text, but she kept deferring back to her state of cursing at me and insulting me. In the end, I just told her that I could no longer be a part of her life, and blocked her. So, that was 4 days ago, and I have not heard from her since. She deleted her Facebook though. And honestly, I have felt a lot calmer these last 4 days than I have in a long time. It makes me feel guilty at times, but also kind of excited that I can act however I want to act from now on without someone looking down at me for it. Too long, didn't read, tried to work things out, took Sarah out to brunch, we got into a fight, I broke up with her. Final comments. A commenter said, "Change your locks." Other than that, let me reiterate the stuff that I said that got buried the first time around. Hey man, you can have a relationship like your partner has, but probably not with Sarah. Sarah is not growing as a person like you are. I have been with my wife 17 years. We grew together. We are both extroverts compared to what you are describing, but my wife is far more introverted than I am. Even being more introverted, she is happy and welcoming to all of my friends, and has many work friends that she introduces me to regularly. She is more interested in staying home, but will always join me out with friends. I work a demanding job. Although my wife is anything but a clean freak, I will often come home to the laundry being done on the day I am supposed to do it if things were rough. I do the same for her. If she has a problem with someone in my life, it is for a damn good reason, and I cut that person out. My youngest sister is boisterous. I mean, she is 19 and crazy. We just had dinner with her and her new boyfriend Tuesday. I have never seen my wife dislike someone for anything but a serious reason. The most important thing to me is my wife, but an extremely close second is my best friend that I have known since we were 4. My best friend is a pretty girl. How did my wife handle this? My best friend immediately became my wife's best friend, too. There was never a day of jealousy from either one. They formed their own meaningful and important friendship. Seriously, they are closer to each other than anyone else on the planet. They spend almost every moment together, with or without me. It sounds to me like you have grown, and realized what you want and need in a partner. It sounds like Sarah wants and needs something else, and honestly it sounds like Sarah is not a grown-up yet. I do not think she is bad, though I now think she is unhinged. I just think you are becoming a grown-up, and you are starting to realize that love is not the only thing relationships need. You are starting to realize you need someone to be on the same page as you, and you need a positive person that wants to support you succeeding. Sarah sounds negative as heck. Also, if I am being honest, sounds like you have become more successful in your life with this new career, and it sounds like Sarah did not want that. Sounds like Sarah does not want you to grow because she knows she cannot grow herself, therefore she cannot keep up, which is what is happening. Sounds like Sarah does not trust you not to cheat on her. Why be with a person who does not want you to be more successful? Why be with someone that does not trust you? It also sounds like if you want to keep your relationship with Sarah, you should stop talking about the drama. Because career-wise it will negatively affect you if people know you are into dealing with relationship drama like that. Thank God you do not want to keep that relationship. By the way, holy heck was I waiting for an update on this one. The original poster replied, "Oh man, I forgot about that part. I asked for her key back when she was yelling at me in the car, so I have both. No, I do not want to keep the relationship. I want someone like your wife who is open to new friends once in a while. I do not expect my significant other to like everyone, and that is fine, but they should at least meet them before they make a decision in my opinion. I do not think I will have another update unless something seriously crazy happens that changes my mind, unfortunately. Right now, I am feeling a lot better than I expected I would." And with that, we wrap up story 1. This one was intense and emotionally heavy. Now, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for not letting my roommate's boyfriend shower at our place anymore? So, I, a 21-year-old female, live in a 2-bedroom flat with my roommate, a 22-year-old female. We have lived together for a little over a year, and mostly things have been fine. We split rent and bills evenly, and we're friendly, though not super close. We respect each other's space, and it's been good up until recently. About 6 months ago, she started dating this guy, a 24-year-old male. He was around once or twice a week at first, but now he's here constantly. Literally sleeps over 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes full weeks in a row. He's not on the lease, doesn't pay rent, doesn't bring shopping, doesn't help with anything at all. Nothing. I've never said much because I get it. It's her boyfriend, and I didn't want to start drama. But what has been bothering me lately is the shower thing. He showers all of the time. Like twice a day minimum. Sometimes more. And every single time, he uses my stuff. My shampoo, conditioner, face wash, razor, deodorant. Yes, I noticed. I didn't even say anything the first few times because I thought maybe she let him borrow something once. But this is just ongoing now. I've moved all my things into my room and carried them back and forth like I'm at a camp or something. I brought it up to my roommate a while ago, and she just went. He probably didn't realize and didn't do anything about it. Last week I finally said something more direct and told her I wasn't comfortable with him showering here constantly, especially since he doesn't live here, doesn't contribute anything, and uses my stuff. I told her I'd feel different if he at least bought his own stuff or chipped in somehow. She got super annoyed and said he doesn't have any money right now, so it's not like he can buy his own things, and that I was being cold and controlling. She told me I was overreacting and that it's just hygiene. I snapped and said it's not about hygiene. It's about boundaries and respect. For what it is worth, I wouldn't have even minded grabbing him some basics if she just asked, but she didn't, and neither did he. They just assumed I'd be fine with it. And honestly, I don't even really like him. He's not awful, just kind of moochy and not self-aware at all. So maybe I'm being harsh because I already find him annoying? Now my roommate is barely speaking to me and told one of our mutual friends that I'm being weirdly territorial and passive-aggressive over a guy taking a quick shower. I don't know. Part of me feels bad because he is broke and maybe I'm being too harsh, but I also feel like I'm being walked over in my own home. I just need unbiased advice. So am I the asshole? Update number 1. Same day, 4 hours later. So, I ended up having another conversation with my roommate after she got home, mostly because I couldn't keep walking around like everything's fine when it's really not, and the comments I read from my previous post helped me to come to that conclusion. I told her as calmly as I could that this situation is seriously getting to me. I get it that she's in love, but I'm not just some side character in her life who has to deal with a boyfriend constantly being in our home. I told her flat out that it's been months now of him basically living here, eating, showering, lounging around, sleeping over 5 to 6 nights a week, and it's crossing the line. She just kind of blinked at me and said I was being heartless. Literally said those exact words. Saying I had no compassion for her relationship or for him, or the fact he had barely any money and needed somewhere to stay most days, and needed food, etc. She accused me of being dramatic and of caring more about shampoo than a person who means the world to her. And I just snapped. I told her this is not about shampoo. It's about the fact that her boyfriend, who doesn't pay rent, doesn't contribute to bills, and isn't even on the lease, has been using all of my personal stuff for months without asking. Like literally never asked, not once, and neither did she. He just started helping himself to my shampoo, my conditioner, my razor, my face wash, and my deodorant like I'm running a free hotel and he's a guest. And the worst part is he barely even talks to me. This man's been living in my space for months, and I swear we've had maybe 2 conversations ever. Half the time he doesn't even say hi when he walks in the door, and just walks straight past me like I'm invisible and hops in the shower with my products like it's no big deal. I cannot believe I have put up with it for this long. I told her if either of them had asked even just once, I probably would have been chill about it. Like, yeah, he's broke, I get it because times are hard. I would have even offered to grab him a few basics if he was short on cash, but no one said anything. They just silently decided it was okay for him to mooch off of me and my stuff and my space without so much as a conversation, like I don't get a say in any of this. She got super defensive, like arms crossed and full of attitude, and said something like, "Well, he's my boyfriend and I'm allowed to have him over. It's my home too." And I said, yeah, you are allowed to have him over, but let's not pretend like he's just here. Sometimes. He's always here. He's been here more nights than not for the past few months, and when he's not sleeping over, he's still around. He's basically moved in without actually moving in. And if he's gonna act like he lives here, then he needs to contribute like he lives here. She just rolled her eyes and said, and I quote, "Get used to it. He's my boyfriend, And as I said before, he has barely any money, so wouldn't be able to contribute anything. And that was it for me. I've been so patient. I've tried to be understanding. I've given them the benefit of the doubt over and over again. But at this point, I feel completely disrespected and walked over in my own home. I've realized I'm not overreacting. I'm reacting to months of not being heard and being treated like I don't matter. I'm calling our landlord tomorrow morning. I'm going to explain that this guy has effectively moved in. He's been staying here for weeks on end, using the amenities, taking up space, and not paying a single penny toward rent or bills. And if he's going to keep staying here, he needs to start paying his share. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm not going to keep carrying the weight of a third person in this flat just because my roommate's in a relationship. She made it clear she's not going to do anything about it, so now I have to. Thank you for your responses on the previous post. It really helped me come to terms with the situation. Update number 2. Next day. Thank you guys for all of your help and comments on my prior posts. And yes, if you can tell, I've taken on board the advice about paragraphs and capitalization. Laugh out loud. Sorry, I'm so used to typing with no capitals and just totally forgot about paragraphs in the stress of me typing it all out. I appreciate everyone who took the time to comment on my last post. It honestly helped me feel so much less crazy about all of this. So like I said I would, this morning I spoke to my landlord. I was so anxious before calling because I didn't want it to feel like I was like tattling or trying to blow things up, but I also knew I couldn't ignore it any longer. He picked up quickly and was actually really calm and professional about everything. I explained the situation as clearly and fairly as I could and told him that my roommate's boyfriend has been staying over 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes more, using all of our utilities, taking over our shared space, and even using my personal things like it's all free despite not paying a single penny toward rent or bills or even any shopping. The landlord paused for a moment and then told me that it wasn't okay. He told me that technically under the lease guests are allowed for short stays, like the occasional overnight or weekend. But then said that's very different from someone else effectively living in the flat, and that if someone is staying over more than a couple nights a week on a consistent basis, that counts as an unofficial tenant. He said that if my roommate wants him there full time, he needs to be added to the lease and start contributing to rent and bills immediately. Otherwise, he said her boyfriend will have to seriously cut back on how often he's staying over, and if my roommate refuses to cooperate or tries to keep things as they are, it could result in her being in breach of the lease agreement. He said she could face consequences, including possible eviction if this continues without resolution. That honestly shook me a little, but also validated that I'm not overreacting. Now on to the more awkward part. A few hours ago, at around 5 p.m., her boyfriend showed up again. As he came in and went to walk past me like usual, I stopped him and said I needed to talk to him. He looked caught off guard and kind of gave me the fake confused "about what?" expression, but I stood firm and said I just needed to clear the air. I told him I'd noticed he's been staying here constantly and using all my stuff such as my shampoo, my face wash, my razor. And yes, I got a new razor the same day I noticed he was using mine, deodorant, all of it without ever asking. I said I was really uncomfortable with it, especially since he's not on the lease or contributing anything. That's when he got defensive. He didn't yell or anything, but his tone immediately turned snappy and kind of guilt-trippy. He said something like that he was sorry he didn't have somewhere else to go right now, and that he was in a deep place. He then said that he wasn't trying to make my life hard, and that he was just trying to survive. Then he launched into this whole monologue about how he's unemployed, struggling with his mental health, that his family all cut him off, he can barely afford food let alone shampoo, and how my attitude is just another example of people turning their backs on someone who's already at rock bottom. He even asked if I think he wants to be in this position, or if I think he feels good about the way he lives, like I was supposed to feel guilty for bringing it up. I stayed calm and told him that I wasn't trying to kick him while he was down, and that if he had just asked me, I probably would have said yes, and I might have even bought him some basics. But he didn't ask, and he just started helping himself, like it was owed to him. He didn't really have a response to that, other than shrugging and muttering that he didn't think it was a big deal, and that my roommate told him it was fine. I said it is a big deal to me. This is my home too, and he has been treating it like a free house that he's allowed to live in, and that's not sustainable anymore. I told him my landlord's going to get involved now, and things will have to change. Either he gets added to the lease and starts paying his share, or he stops staying over all the time. And if neither, my roommate could end up being evicted. He got quiet after that, gave me some annoyed half apology, and went into her room. Honestly, I think he was more embarrassed than anything. But I'm not backing down now, because I've done my part, and I've been patient. I've communicated like an adult, so what happens next is on them. No word yet from my roommate after her conversation with the landlord, which I assume happened as my landlord doesn't usually say stuff and not follow through with it, and she still hasn't come back home, which leads me to the belief that she's furious. That said, I'm done prioritizing her comfort over my own peace of mind, as I've been more than fair. I will update again if and when my roommate says anything to me. Also, I've officially locked my shower stuff away, and the snacks that I had previously bought, which were my snacks I bought with my money. I went to Argos this morning and got one of those little lockable storage boxes and slid it under my bed, as some of you suggested. I made a very unique 4-digit code for it too, so hopefully my roommate's boyfriend doesn't go to the extreme of trying to open and snoop through a locked box. Update number 3. Thank you for all your comments and positivity on my previous posts. I'm hoping this will all blow over soon, as confrontation is not my thing in general, and this is a situation I really don't want to be in, as I don't want to be the reason someone who's already struggling ends up on the streets. And before I get into the latest update, I did see a comment asking why I didn't just ask her why he doesn't use her stuff, and the answer is because he already does. Laugh out loud. He uses both of our stuff whenever he feels like it, but for some reason it's mostly mine he grabs. Anyways, my roommate came home about an hour ago, just before 12 p.m., and it was obvious from the second she walked through the door that she was furious. She slammed the front door shut, slammed her keys a little too hard onto the side table, and threw her bag down. I was in the living room at the time, and the energy shift was instant. I waited a moment, then came out from the living room, said hello, and asked as gently as I could if everything was okay. She didn't answer right away, and just stood there with her jaw clenched before blurting out that she couldn't believe I actually called our landlord, and then asked me why I was being so dramatic. I stayed calm and said that I had already told her I was going to if nothing changed, and that I didn't go behind her back. She gave this bitter laugh and said something along the lines of, "Yeah, well, now thanks to that, our landlord told me in no uncertain terms that the boyfriend is not allowed to stay more than 2 nights a week anymore unless he starts paying rent." She was absolutely livid. She asked me if I even understood what that meant, and then said he literally has nowhere else to go right now, and he's been staying here because he doesn't have a home, not because they were trying to take advantage of me or something. She kept telling me he was struggling and would have no money to pay rent or bills, and now what? Is he supposed to just wander around in the cold at night and freeze to death while you, and I quote, "sleep soundly knowing your shampoo's safe and sound"? That last line was so sarcastic it would have been funny if it wasn't so frustrating and guilt-tripping. I took a deep breath and said that it was not about the shampoo. It was about how he's been here constantly, like literally living here without ever being asked to contribute anything, and literally had barely even acknowledged me ever. I mentioned that I tried to talk to her about it twice, and she blew it off both times. What else was I supposed to do? She crossed her arms and looked at me like I was the most cold-hearted person alive. She told me he was her boyfriend, and of course she would want him here. That he's going through so much, and now I've made it, so he feels completely unwelcome. She told me his family just cut him off one day, with no reason, and all of his friends stopped talking to him too, and apparently treated him awfully, which in my opinion seems ironic, but maybe that's just me. Laugh out loud. Apparently he called her after I confronted him earlier and told her he's going to stay at a friend's place tonight, and he sounded like he was about to cry before he hung up the phone, then said this was just another example of people not giving a heck about him when he needs it most. I literally didn't even hear him leave, so he must have crept out. Laugh out loud. I could feel the guilt tripping in every word. But honestly, I've reached the point where I'm done letting it work on me. I said that I was sorry he's going through a rough time. But this is my home too. I pay rent, I pay bills. I keep this place going just like she does. I'm not an extra in her relationship. She brought someone into this space without asking, let him treat it like it's his, and didn't lift a finger when it started affecting me. That's not okay. She went quiet at that, still clearly annoyed but with nothing left to say that wouldn't sound like more of the same. After a few seconds she just said, I hope you're happy, and walked off into her room, slamming the door behind her. I'm not happy. I didn't want it to come to this. But I'm also not sorry. I've been way more patient than I should have been, and I've tried to handle this like an adult. I don't think her boyfriend feeling unwelcome is because I'm cruel. It's because they have both acted like the rules do not apply to them, and that is not my fault. Update number 4. Hi again, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you again for the incredible support, advice, and unbiased opinions you've given me throughout this whole mess of a time. I've read every single comment on my last few posts, and it's been genuinely eye-opening in a beautiful way to realize how many people have been able to offer advice when my head was spinning. So, it's been tense but quiet since my last post. My roommate has barely spoken to me, and things have mostly been awkward silence or heavy sighs. I've kept my boundaries up and stayed polite, but we both clearly needed space. Yesterday, my roommate and her boyfriend, yes, he was over to collect something of his, had a huge argument. I wasn't eavesdropping, but it was loud enough that I could not hear it as our walls are thin and they were yelling. He was accusing her of being a bad girlfriend for not sticking up for him when I talked to our landlord, or sticking up for him when I raised an issue, which she did. Laugh out loud. He actually said that she let me humiliate him, and that she didn't even defend him, and said I have made him look pathetic. He went full guilt trip, saying she betrayed him, and that real partners are supposed to protect each other. He said he felt humiliated, abandoned, and that she clearly didn't care about him at all. It was like watching someone weaponize hurt feelings just to control his narrative. She was crying and trying to explain, but he kept cutting her off, and then, suddenly, boom, he slammed the door and stormed out. She followed shortly after. I thought that was probably the end of the drama for the night. I genuinely felt bad for her in that moment. But then at like 2 a.m. this morning, she came stumbling and tipsy and immediately started shouting at me. She slurred something about me just being jealous and mad because I don't have a boyfriend. I literally couldn't be further from being jealous of her and her boyfriend, as he seems to be so cruel and guilt-tripping towards her. Then she said it's because I cannot stand seeing her happy, so I ruin it for her. Then she called me bitter, pathetic, and said I was sabotaging her relationship because I'm lonely. I didn't even say anything, and I just sat there stunned. She then stomped off to her room and passed out cold. This morning, I woke up to find her sitting at the kitchen table looking rough. She was hungover and clearly very low. She mumbled something about how she doesn't know what to think anymore, and then said she thinks that her boyfriend is only with her for her money. I was genuinely trying to be kind, as I felt bad for her, and it must be a tough situation to be in. I told her I was sorry she felt like that, and that she deserves better if that's how she's feeling. I thought we were having a real moment. But then she looked me dead in the eye and said literally, and I quote, "This is your fault." My jaw dropped. I literally said, "Excuse me?" And she repeated it. She said if I hadn't blown everything out of proportion and gone to our landlord, none of this would have happened and her boyfriend wouldn't be angry with her. And then said I ruined everything. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't fair. I've been nothing but fair, and I've tried so hard to set boundaries respectfully, communicate like an adult, and not cause drama. I've gone out of my way to make this place livable, and still got blamed for everything. And now I'm being guilt-tripped because her boyfriend treats the flat like a free hotel, and she's too far gone to see it. Which brings me to the next part of this post. Our lease is up for renewal on August 1st. Our landlord emailed us both yesterday with a standard renewal reminder and asked us to let him know by July 1st if we're planning to stay, so he has time to prep the paperwork or start listing the flat. I've thought long and hard about this, and I have come to the conclusion that I don't want to live with her anymore. Even if her boyfriend disappears tomorrow, the trust and respect is gone, and the ability to feel comfortable in my own home is hanging by a thread. I won't be renewing my half. Whether I find a new place alone or with someone else, I'm not staying here. I haven't told her yet because I'm not in the mood to get screamed at again, but I'll be giving proper notice soon and reaching out to our landlord to clarify the process. I'll do it properly and respectfully, but I know that I will no longer live here. I've mentally committed, and this weekend I'm going to start the flat or house share search. I'm equal parts nervous and excited. Nervous because I'm in a very good location right now, and the rent isn't cheap, but reasonable for what it is. I know I might not get quite as lucky again, especially solo, but I'd rather pay a little more than keep sacrificing my sanity. Laugh out loud. If anyone has any tips or suggestions for websites to search for house shares in the UK, I'd massively appreciate them. I've got Spare Room, seems the most legit but can be competitive. Rightmove, good for full flats, not so much for house shares. Open Rent Room Go, has anyone used this recently? And a few local Facebook groups I'm cautiously dipping into. I'm also wondering if anyone's had better luck starting as a group of renters looking to sign together rather than joining an existing one. I'd love to hear any experiences, good or bad. I'm still sad that it came to this because this flat could have been a dream, but I know I'm making the right decision. I deserve a space that feels like mine, or at least one I'm not constantly being pushed out of emotionally. So yeah, wish me luck. And if anyone knows of a spare room in a chill flat with non-toxic housemates and boundaries that are respected, feel free to manifest it into the universe for me. Ha ha ha. Thank you to everyone who's commented and supported me through this absolutely bonkers situation. You made me feel sane and reminded me that I deserve to feel safe, respected, and comfortable in my own home. Update number 5. Hi everyone. If you've followed any of my previous posts, first of all, thank you. You'll know it's been a tense, chaotic, and honestly emotionally exhausting time dealing with my roommate and her boyfriend essentially living rent-free in my flat, while I've slowly been pushed out of my own space and sanity. A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks, and I wanted to update you properly. Things have continued to be awkward. Very, very painfully awkward. Since my last post where my roommate drunkenly accused me of sabotaging her relationship and said everything was my fault, she's barely spoken a word to me. I think we've exchanged maybe 2 sentences since then, and they were both household things like, "Have you seen the post?" Or, "The boiler man's coming on Thursday." Her boyfriend has still been around, despite what was said. Not as much as before because they're definitely trying to keep it under the radar now that the landlord's aware. She's clearly choosing to keep him in her life, and that's her decision, but I can't pretend it doesn't suck to come home and feel the tension in the air every day. To be fair, he hasn't touched any of my stuff since the confrontation. Probably out of shame or fear, I'll report him again, but the atmosphere hasn't improved. She still looks at me like I'm the villain in her love story, and I'm honestly just so tired of being cast in that role. Now here's where things improve. After I gave notice to my landlord that I wouldn't be renewing the lease, he asked if I was planning on staying in the area, and I said yes. I've been flat hunting nonstop online. Spare room mostly, though it's a bloodbath, but nothing quite felt right. A few days after my last post, I was reading through the comments, which again, thank you for. You Redditors are wiser than most real-life advice I've had. And a few people suggested I ask the landlord if there were any other units available in the same building. I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest. I assumed everything around here was taken, but I figured I had nothing to lose by asking. So I emailed him just casually saying that before I committed to moving out of the building entirely, I wanted to check if there were any other units becoming available around the same time. He replied the next day saying that one of the flats just upstairs, literally one floor above us, was going to be vacant from mid-July. Same layout, same rent, same everything, but slightly newer kitchen fittings and a nicer view, less bin alley and more rooftops. He even offered me a first viewing since I was a current tenant and had always paid rent on time. I was honestly stunned. Same building, same landlord, same floor plan, and no drama roommate. Sign me up. I viewed the new unit last week. It's still a 2-bedroom, which works perfectly because my friend, a 23-year-old female who I've known since 6th form, and who's been looking to move out of her current house share, is looking to move around the same time. We had a little catch-up to talk about it, and realized our timelines lined up almost perfectly. She came to view it with me the second time around and loved it. We signed the lease together this past Wednesday, and we officially get the keys on July 17th. Now here's the cherry on top. My current roommate isn't renewing her lease either. Apparently, after all the landlord stuff happened, she decided she doesn't want to stay in the building anymore. I'm guessing she doesn't want to be under the same roof as me, or the landlord, who now knows about her boyfriend's extended stays. She mentioned in passing, very passive-aggressively, that she's moving somewhere with fewer rules, whatever that means. So as it stands, she's moving out. I'm moving into a new unit 1 floor up, and we'll no longer be flatmates. I haven't told her where I'm moving yet. I didn't lie, but I also didn't feel like I owed her explanation, you know? When she asked if I'd found anywhere yet, I just said that I've sorted it with the landlord and left it at that. If she finds out I'm literally upstairs, that would be slightly awkward. Just to paint a realistic picture for anyone reading who's you, based or curious, here's how the process is going down. I formally gave my 30-day notice in writing to the landlord as soon as I decided not to renew. He accepted it and noted that my tenancy ends on July 31st. The landlord already knows me, obviously, and I've paid rent on time for over a year, so getting the new lease was smooth. No agency faff this time, which I'm so grateful for. It was just a standard credit check and ID confirmation. Because it's the same landlord and he uses a registered deposit scheme, he's allowing the deposit from this unit to be rolled over into the new flat pending an inspection of this one. So if I leave this place in good condition, I won't have to cough up another full deposit. Lifesaver. We're getting the keys to the new flat on July 17th, even though this lease ends on the 31st. That gives me 2 full weeks of overlap to move gradually, clean, and avoid a stress meltdown. My dad even offered to drive up with his car to help with the heavier stuff. He is a hero. My friend's lease ends around the same time, so we'll be moving in together over the same weekend. I've already sorted my council tax and utilities with the landlord. He'll notify the local council, and we just need to set up the new water, electric, and internet accounts from the 17th. We'll split it 50-50 just like I always hoped I could. Honestly, I feel so thankful, knowing I won't have to be in a flat where I'm constantly tiptoeing around a very moody roommate and her, as you say, homosexual boyfriend is such a relief. I'm very excited to decorate a new space and set new boundaries from day one. Me and my friend already talked openly about how we want to divide shared costs. Groceries will be our own, cleaning rota, guests can stay but within reason, etc. And it feels normal. I could actually cry at the idea of normal. So now I'm prepping for the move. Starting to box up non-essentials, deep cleaning little bits each day, and honestly enjoying the idea of creating a new space from scratch. I've started making Pinterest boards for our new living room and my bedroom. I'll probably do a little post-move update once we're in and settled. Thank you to every single person who read, commented, DM, ed, or just rooted for me in the background. I owe you all a virtual hug. Update number 6. Hey everyone. I cannot believe it's been about so long since my last post. It literally feels like a lifetime ago. I wanted to give you all a proper final update because so many of you followed along and supported me through what was one of the most stressful periods of my life. Life is so much better now. I moved into the new flat upstairs with my friend back in July, and it has been nothing short of amazing. It is really such a breath of fresh air. We actually talk things through, respect each other's space, split bills on time, and most importantly, clean up after ourselves. We set boundaries right from day one, and we have fully stuck to them and not argued once about anything. On to the probably inevitable question: what happened to my old roommate and her boyfriend? They didn't last long after my last post. I found out through a mutual friend that they officially broke up not too long ago. Like a month or two ago. Apparently things got really toxic between them. Well, more than it already was. But he got arrested. Him and many others were caught doing a lot of cocaine supplying. Laugh out loud. Like, really a lot of it. When I heard, I didn't know what to say at all because I was shocked but also not surprised, if that makes sense. As for my old roommate, she's moved out of the area completely. I don't know where exactly, and I haven't asked. After she left, she blocked me on Instagram and only Instagram, which is weird, laugh out loud. Thank you to everyone who interacted with my posts and commented or messaged me, etc. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy this is all finally over. And with that, we wrap up story 2. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more. What did you think of the outcomes? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.